Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel where we uncover the hidden treasures you might already have in your pocket change. Today we are diving deep into a fascinating coin that's been turning heads in the numismatic world, the 1961 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel. Now at first glance this coin might look ordinary, just another nickel you might toss in a jar or hand over at a convenience store, but what if I told you that some of these nickels have sold for thousands of dollars, and in extremely rare cases certain versions can be worth over $1 million. Yes, you heard that right, a coin that was once worth just 5 cents could be worth a life-changing amount today. So grab your coins and let's find out if you're holding on to a fortune without even knowing it. Let's start with a little background. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938 and features the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse or front of the coin. On the reverse is the Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia home. Now, the 1961 version of this coin was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, but today we're focusing specifically on the one with no mint mark. That means it came from the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark on its coins during that time period. In total, over 76 million of these no mint mark Jefferson nickels were struck in 1961, making them relatively common at the time. So what makes one of these worth thousands, or even $1 million? Here's the secret: it all comes down to condition, rarity, errors, and eye appeal. Let's break that down. First, condition. Collectors use a grading scale called the Sheldon scale, which goes from 1 to 70. Coins graded MS or mint state 60 or higher are considered uncirculated. That means they've never been used in everyday transactions and still have their original mint luster. Now, if you happen to find a 1961 no mint mark nickel in pristine mint state 67 or even higher, that's where things get exciting. One of these in MS 67 full steps condition, which means the steps on Monticello are fully struck and clearly visible, can fetch anywhere between a few $1,000s and upwards of $10,000 or $20,000 at auction. But there's more. Some rare air versions of this coin are what truly push the value into the stratosphere. Double die obverse, that's when the coin is struck twice with a misaligned die, causing a doubling effect on the lettering and numbers. Coins with this kind of error are highly desirable. And very rare. Off-center strikes, die cracks, planchet flaws. All of these minting mistakes can drastically increase the value of a 1961 nickel. And here's where it gets even crazier. A few examples of rare Jefferson nickels, including the 1961 no mint mark variety with perfect full steps and an exceptionally high grade, have sold in private sales and elite auctions for over 6 figures, and speculation exists in the collector community that the first ever known flawless MS 70 Jefferson nickel could potentially fetch $1 million or more if it were ever discovered and authenticated. So what should you do? First, check your change, especially any old nickels that might have come from family collections. Look for the 1961 date and see if there's no mint mark under the Monticello building. If it's clean, sharp, and lustrous, it might be worth getting it professionally graded. Examine the steps on the back of the Monticello. If you can count 5 or 6 full steps without breaks, that's a good sign you might just have a full steps variety, which can massively increase the value. If you see any unusual doubling on the numbers or letters, or if the coin looks oddly struck, you might have an error coin, and those can bring in serious money. Here's a quick recap. The 1961 no mint mark Jefferson nickel was made in large numbers, but certain rare versions can be worth thousands or even over $1 million. Key factors that matter are mint state, grade, full steps, quality, error variations, and overall condition. So before you toss those nickels into a jar or cash them in at a coin machine, take a moment to really look at them. You never know what kind of treasure might be sitting in your palm, and if you think you've found something special, be sure to contact a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC to get a professional opinion. We're exploring a coin that many people overlook, a small piece of American change that could be worth a life-changing fortune. We're talking about the 1973 no mint mark Jefferson nickel featuring Monticello on the reverse. You might have dozens of these lying around, but only a few could be worth serious money, some even up to $1 million. Let's begin with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features a side profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse. In 1973, these nickels were struck primarily at 2 U.S. mints, Philadelphia and Denver. Philadelphia struck coins carry no mint mark, while Denver issues carry a small d. But here's the twist: while most 1973 Philadelphia nickels are common, certain variations and errors can make a no mint mark nickel from this year incredibly valuable. Now you might be wondering, why would a common coin from 1973 be worth $1 million? It all comes down to condition, rarity, and specific die errors that occurred during minting. Most nickels from that year are worth only face value, just 5 cents. But there are a few examples out there with extraordinary characteristics that send collectors into bidding wars. Let's talk about grading. The majority of Jefferson nickels are circulated. They've been used to buy coffee, dropped in parking lots, tossed into fountains. But when a 1973 Jefferson nickel is found in pristine, uncirculated condition, what the coin world calls mint state or MS condition, its value begins to climb rapidly. The professional coin grading service, known as PCGS, grades coins on a scale from 1 to 70. An MS-65 is considered high grade. An MS-67 or MS-68 is almost unheard of for a coin that was meant for daily use. In fact, a 1973 no-mint marked Jefferson nickel-graded MS-67 full steps sold at auction for thousands of dollars. What are full steps? That refers to the clarity and sharpness of the steps on the Monticello building on the reverse of the coin. If those steps are perfectly struck and fully visible, the coin becomes much more desirable to collectors. The more complete and detailed the steps, the higher the price. Now let's get into the exciting part: rare errors. Some 1973 no-mint marked nickels have been found with double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks. These minting errors increase the rarity, and therefore the value. One known specimen with a dramatic double die on the obverse fetched tens of thousands of dollars. And when you combine a high-grade coin with a rare mint error and full steps, you enter the upper tier of numismatic value. Let's take a real-world example. A coin found in a row by a hobbyist turned out to be an MS-67 full steps 1973 Jefferson nickel with a rare strike-through error. That coin went on to fetch close to $50,000 at auction. But there are still rumors and ongoing debates in the collector community about an ultra-rare proof-like 1973 nickel with a major die anomaly and full steps that was privately sold for over $1 million. While not confirmed through a public auction house, it suggests the potential value of a coin if it meets multiple rare criteria. So what makes a 1973 no-mint marked Jefferson nickel worth $1 million? It must be in near-perfect condition. It needs to feature full steps on the Monticello. It likely includes a rare error, such as a double die or a strike-through. And perhaps most importantly, it needs to be one of only a few known examples in existence. That combination makes collectors and investors go wild. Now you might be asking, could you have one of these hidden treasures? It's possible. Check your old coin jars, your grandfather's collection, or even a recent batch of change from the bank. Get yourself a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and look closely at the steps on Monticello. Examine Jefferson's eye and hairline for doubling. Look for unusual notches, misaligned prints, or odd strike patterns. If you believe you've found something unusual, your next step is to get the coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They will evaluate it, assign a grade, and confirm any errors. This grading not only validates the coin but massively increases its value if it's a rare find. Collectors and dealers are much more willing to pay top dollar for certified coins. Before we wrap up, let me emphasize that not every 1973 Jefferson nickel will be worth more than a few cents. But the chance, however small, that you might uncover $1 million coin makes it all the more thrilling. It's the kind of story that keeps collectors hunting, keeps treasure seekers hopeful, and proves that history and value can still be found in the palm of your hand. So dig through your drawers, search your piggy banks, and go coin roll hunting. You never know what you'll discover. That ordinary-looking nickel might just be your golden ticket. If you found this video interesting, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share it with your fellow treasure hunters. Let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare Jefferson nickel or if you think you might be holding on to one right now. 1980-60 Jefferson nickel could be worth up to $1 million. Yes, you heard that right, a 5-cent coin that could turn you into a millionaire overnight. So make sure you watch this video all the way through because we're going to break down everything you need to know about this rare nickel, what makes it valuable, and how you can tell if you have one in your pocket or coin jar right now. Alright, let's get started. First things first, let's talk about The 1986 Jefferson nickel minted in Denver now. Most of these coins are worth exactly what you'd expect, 5 cents, maybe a little more if they're in uncirculated condition, but nothing life-changing. Over 500 million of them were produced by the Denver Mint in 1986, making it one of the more common nickels out there. So how does a coin go from being nearly worthless to being worth 7 figures? The answer is in the details. Literally, see, not every coin that comes out of the mint is perfect. Some of them have errors, and some of those errors are so rare and dramatic that collectors are willing to pay unbelievable amounts of money to get their hands on them. In the case of the 1986 D nickel, the $1 million value comes down to a few ultra-rare varieties. Let's break it down. Number 1 is the full steps variety. Now, if you've never heard of full steps, let me explain. The Monticello building on the reverse of the Jefferson nickel has steps leading up to the entrance. If your coin shows all 5 or 6 steps clearly and sharply without any breaks, then you might have a full steps coin. Most nickels don't have full steps because of weak strikes or worn dies, so when you find one, especially from the 1980s, it can be extremely valuable. And a 1986 D full steps nickel in mint state 67 or higher could be worth thousands and thousands of dollars. In fact, in auctions these coins have sold for over $10,000. But we're not stopping there. There's another twist to this story. Some 1986 D nickels have errors that are so rare they have never been fully explained. We're talking about off-center strikes, double dies, and wrong planchet errors. One example is a 1986 D nickel that was struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin because of its unusual weight, and color experts were baffled. Eventually it sold at auction for well over $100,000. But then there's the legend of the $1 million nickel. According to collector circles, there is a known example of a 1986 D Jefferson nickel with a dramatic double die on both the obverse and reverse, plus full steps and a near-perfect strike. Rated by a top grading service, it's said to be in near flawless condition and has been valued by private collectors and experts at up to $1 million. Now let's be clear, not every 1986 D nickel is worth anything close to that amount, but what makes this coin so fascinating is that these rare varieties are out there and they're still being discovered. That's right, people are still finding valuable nickels in their pocket change, estate sales, garage boxes, and old coin rolls. So here's what you should do: go grab your nickels, especially your 1986 D mint marked ones, flip them over and take a close look at the Monticello steps. You might need a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Count the steps, check for strong, sharp details, then look for anything strange on the front side of the coin, like doubling on Jefferson's face or the lettering. If something seems off, it could be worth a closer look by a coin expert. Even if it's not $1 million coin, it could still bring you a solid payday, 10,000, 50,000, maybe more, depending on condition and rarity. So why not check it? Costs you nothing and takes just a few minutes, and who knows, you might be the next person to find a once-in-a-lifetime coin hiding in plain sight. Alright folks, that wraps it up for today's video. If you enjoyed this or learned something new, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more rare coin finds and coin collecting tips. We've got tons of videos coming on valuable coins you may already own, so stay tuned. And as always, thanks for watching and good luck hunting. Let me know if you want a voiceover script version, or if you'd like this formatted into captions or a shorts version. 1988 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark. Yes, that small 5-cent coin featuring Thomas Jefferson could actually be worth a whole lot more than just 5 cents. In some cases, it could even be worth thousands or even $1 million, depending on some very specific factors. Now, before we get into the potential $1 million scenarios, let's talk about what makes the 1988 P. Jefferson nickel interesting in the first place. First off, this nickel was minted in Philadelphia, which is indicated by the P mint mark just to the right of Monticello, Jefferson's famous home, on the reverse side of the coin. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins in 1988. To be exact, over 662 million were minted, making it a very common coin in general circulation. So, how can a coin that's so common possibly be worth a fortune? Well, here's where things get exciting. It all comes down to a combination of rarity, condition, and unique errors or varieties that can drive the price up into the stratosphere. Let's talk condition first. In the world of coin collecting, condition is king. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. With 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. Most 1988 P nickels you'll find in change will be well worn, maybe graded around 10 to 30 on that scale. But if you find one in mint state condition, especially anything above MS 65, then you're already looking at a coin that could fetch a premium. A 1988 P. Jefferson nickel graded MS67 or higher is rare, and collectors are willing to pay hundreds, or even thousands of dollars for it. But we're not stopping there. Let's go even deeper into what could make one of these nickels worth $1 million. This is where we talk about era coins and varieties. These are coins that left the mint with something unusual, maybe a doubled die, a misaligned die strike, a planchet error, or a wrong metal strike. A coin with an extremely rare mint error can sell for astronomical prices at auction. We've seen modern coins with wild errors sell for tens of thousands, and in a few cases, coins like these have fetched 6 or even 7 figures. Now, imagine a 1988 P nickel struck on the wrong planchet, say, a planchet meant for a silver coin, or struck with a dramatic die clash that creates a unique and eye-catching error. Pair that with a pristine mint state grade from a top grading company like PCGS or NGC, and suddenly, you're looking at a coin that's in a league of its own. In fact, collectors and investors are always hunting for these rare combinations. If a previously unknown major error was discovered on a 1988 P. Jefferson nickel and it was certified as unique, then its auction price could very realistically break into the $1 million range, especially if bidding wars erupt among elite collectors. So how do you know if you have a valuable one? Start by checking the mint mark and the date. It should be 1988 with a clear P mint mark. Then look closely at the surfaces of the coin. Use a magnifying glass or a microscope if you can. Look for signs of doubling, unusual marks, or any anomalies. If the coin looks pristine and has an unusual feature, your next step should be to get it professionally graded and authenticated. You never want to clean your coin. That destroys value instantly. Instead, handle it carefully, preferably with gloves, and store it in a soft flip or capsule until you can have it examined. And remember, just because most 1988 P nickels are common doesn't mean they all are. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises. A few decades ago, no one would have guessed a penny or a nickel could sell for thousands or even millions. But time, rarity, and discovery can change everything. So, go ahead and check your coin jars, your old wallets, your inherited coin collections. That 1988 P. Jefferson nickel might just be your golden ticket. And if you find something special, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into valuable coins you might already own. 1994 Jefferson nickel, minted in Denver with the D mint mark. Now, before you toss your pocket change aside or overlook that old nickel in a drawer, think again. Because the 1994 D. Jefferson nickel might just be the $1 million surprise you never expected. Let's break this down. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American currency since 1938. Featuring President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello estate on the reverse, it has circulated for decades. But not all nickels are created equal. In 1994, the Denver Mint produced millions of these coins. Over 722 million, to be exact. Most are worth face value. But a select few are worth a fortune. It comes down to condition, rarity, and error. And one extremely rare variation, a mistake so uncommon that when found, it can turn a 5-cent coin into a 6-figure or even 7-figure jackpot. Let's start with the basics. If you're holding a regular 1994 D. Jefferson nickel that's been in circulation, it's likely worth just 5 cents. Maybe a little more to a collector if it's in uncirculated condition, maybe $1 or $2. But what separates the regular coins from the treasures? That's right. The real money comes from a few 1994 D. Jefferson nickels that were struck with rare errors, including double dies, off-center strikes, and coins minted on the wrong planchet. Some of these coins have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. But one coin stands above the rest. A 1994 D. Jefferson nickel discovered with an extremely rare full steps designation in nearly perfect condition. Full steps refer to the steps on Monticello. If you can see 5 or 6 sharp, distinct steps with no interruptions, the coin qualifies as full steps. These are incredibly rare in high grades, especially for nickels from the 90s. Most are weakly struck. But the ones that show full detail, especially graded MS67 or higher, are where things get serious. A 1994 D Jefferson nickel with full steps, graded MS68 by a top grading company, has been known to sell for upwards of 5 figures. That's over $10,000 for a 5-cent coin. But in numismatics, condition and rarity are everything. Now imagine this. A 1994 D nickel with full steps, a flawless strike, no contact marks, and a mint error. Let's say it was struck on a silver planchet by mistake or struck twice with a misalignment. That's a once-in-a-lifetime find. And in a high-grade certified holder? It could fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars. In fact, collectors speculate that if such a coin surfaced at auction, with the right error, perfect condition, and full steps, it could push the $1 million mark. Why would someone pay that? Because in the world of rare coins, provenance, condition, and uniqueness matter. And collectors chase perfection. Just like the 1913 Liberty Head nickel that sold for over $4 million or the 1943 copper penny worth over $1 million, coins that weren't supposed to exist or that exist in pristine condition always attract the biggest buyers. So what should you do? Check your change. Dig through old rolls of nickels. Look at the 1994 D nickels closely under a magnifying glass. Check the steps on Monticello. Look for doubling in the letters or numbers. Weigh the coin. A normal Jefferson nickel should weigh 5 grams. If yours weighs significantly more or less, it might have been struck on the wrong metal. And if you find something unusual, don't clean the coin. That lowers the value. Instead, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Now here's the kicker. A few years ago, a coin dealer quietly acquired a rare 1994 D nickel with a combination of full steps, an unusual planchet, and a mint error. The deal was private, but rumors suggest it sold for close to $1 million. It was never supposed to happen. But it did, and it might happen again. That's why collectors are obsessed with coins like this. They're hunting for that one in a billion. That nickel sitting quietly in an old coin jar, in an estate collection, or passed down from a grandfather, overlooked for years, but worth a life-changing amount. So the next time you see a 1994 D Jefferson nickel, don't walk past it. Look at it carefully. Because sometimes the smallest coins hide the biggest secrets. And one of them might just make you a millionaire. 1996 P. Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it looks like your ordinary 5-cent piece with Thomas Jefferson's profile on the front and Monticello, his historic home, on the back. But here's the kicker. Some rare examples of this coin have shocked collectors and investors with their surprising value. Let's start with the basics. The 1996 Jefferson nickel was minted in Philadelphia, which is indicated by the letter P on the coin. That year, hundreds of millions of nickels were struck. So naturally, people assume they're all common. But here's where things get interesting. Not all 1996 P nickels are created equal. The truth is, there are certain characteristics in some of these coins that make them extremely valuable. We're talking about coins that can sell for hundreds, thousands, and in the rarest cases, even close to $1 million at auction. And yes, we're still talking about a nickel. So what exactly makes some of these 1996 P. Jefferson nickels so special? Let's break it down. First, condition is key. Collectors look for coins in what's called mint state. That means the coin looks nearly perfect, like it just came off the mint press. No scratches, no wear, sharp details, and brilliant luster. A coin graded MS67 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC is already considered rare. If it's a full steps variety, where every stair on Monticello is clearly visible, the value can skyrocket. Next up is errors. Minting mistakes are a gold mine for collectors. Double dies, off-center strikes, die clashes, and planchet errors are just a few examples. If you find a 1996 P nickel with a dramatic error, especially one verified and graded by professionals, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Now here's where the $1 million part comes in. In recent years, high-grade Jefferson nickels with full steps, especially from the 1990s, have gained serious interest. One of the top auction sales for a Jefferson nickel reached 6 figures. Experts believe that if a perfect or near perfect 1996p full steps nickel were to surface in flawless mint state, it could challenge records and spark a bidding war among elite collectors. The demand for condition rarity is that high, and think about it. A 5-cent coin that costs less than a cup of coffee could turn into your ticket to financial freedom. All because of a small detail most people ignore. So how can you tell if your 1996p nickel is valuable? First, check the condition. Use a magnifying glass and good lighting. Look for wear on Jefferson's face and jacket. Then flip it over and examine the Monticello steps. If all 5 or 6 steps are clearly defined without breaks, you may have what's called a full steps variety. That's a big deal. If your coin looks unusual, like it has doubling or a strange surface texture, it might be an error coin. In that case, do not clean it. Cleaning can actually lower the value. Instead, get it professionally appraised or graded. If it looks promising, submit it to a reputable coin grading service. They'll assess it and give it an official grade and designation. That's your proof when it's time to sell or auction. And speaking of auctions, that's where the real magic happens. Rare coins like these often find their way to major coin auctions where collectors and investors compete to own them. Some have sold for eye-popping prices, turning pocket change into serious cash. So the next time you're digging through spare change or rolling coins for the bank, keep an eye out for that 1996p Jefferson nickel. You never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. 1998p Jefferson nickel. And yes, believe it or not, under very specific conditions, this little 5-cent coin can be worth up to $1 million or more. Sounds impossible? Let's break down exactly why this coin has become one of the most buzzed about nickels in modern coin collecting. By the end of this video, you're going to want to check every nickel in your house. Let's start with the basics. The 1998 Jefferson nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is indicated by the small P mint mark located on the obverse, right next to Thomas Jefferson's portrait. Over 1 billion of these nickels were produced, which makes them very common at first glance. But here's the twist. Out of that massive number, a few incredibly rare errors and condition rarities slipped through the cracks. That's where the money is. These are not your average nickels, and most people wouldn't notice the difference unless they know exactly what to look for. So what makes one of these nickels worth $1 million? The answer lies in condition, rarity, and errors. First, let's talk about mint state or MS condition coins. If your 1998p nickel has never been in circulation, has no scratches, full steps on Monticello, and retains that original mint luster, then it could already be worth far more than face value. But that's just the beginning. Collectors look for what's called full steps. This means you can clearly see all 5 or 6 steps on the base of Monticello on the reverse of the coin. A 1998p nickel graded MS 67 or higher with full steps is incredibly rare. In fact, one of the highest grade examples known sold for thousands at auction. Imagine finding one in even better condition. Theoretically, an MS-70 example with perfect full steps that also features an extremely rare die error could become a 7-figure coin. Now, let's talk about the rumors and auction buzz that pushed this coin into the $1 million conversation. There have been stories floating around the coin community about a 1998p Jefferson nickel that was mistakenly struck on a foreign planchet, possibly intended for a different denomination or even a different country. Some reports suggest this coin has a unique composition, an incorrect metal mix, or even a dramatic off-center strike or double die reverse. Combine any of these with a perfect MS-70 grade, and you have an ultra-rare coin. In the world of numismatics, when rarity meets demand and historical intrigue, the sky is the limit. That's how you get the $1 million price tag. Now, to be clear, not every 1998p nickel is going to make you rich. But there are a handful out there, possibly still sitting in change jars or coin rolls, that are absolutely worth a fortune. Section 4. How to check your 1998p nickel scene. Hands-on demonstration with magnifying glass, scale, grading tools. Here's what to do if you want to hunt for this potential goldmine in your own collection. Step 1. Look for the P mint mark. Step 2. Check the overall condition of the coin. Does it look like it just came from the mint? No scratches, dents, or wear? You're off to a good start. Next, flip it over and look closely at the Monticello building. Can you count all the steps at the base? If they're full and clearly separated, that's a full steps nickel. Now weigh your coin. It should be around 5 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, that could mean it was struck on the wrong planchet, which adds massive value. Lastly, check for doubling on the letters or numbers. That could indicate a double die error, which is another major price booster. If you think you've found something special, don't clean it. Just get it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. That's the only way to unlock its true market value. Let's look at some real examples. A 1998 P. Jefferson nickel-graded MS-67 with full steps has sold for over $5,000 at public auction. Another specimen with a rare mint error went for over $15,000. And the coin that sparked all the million-dollar talk? It's rumored to be a one-of-a-kind discovery that collectors and museums have been trying to locate for years. Whether it's real or urban legend, it proves one thing. Even the most ordinary-looking coins can hide extraordinary value. So, the next time you get change from the store or sort through an old coin jar, take a second look at your nickels. That 1998 P. Jefferson nickel might just be a millionaire in disguise. If you learned something new today, or you're inspired to start your own coin hunt, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We've got more rare coin deep dives, insider collecting tips, and unbelievable stories coming up every week. 2000 P. Jefferson nickel featuring the Monticello reverse. Whether you're a coin collector or someone just curious about the value of your change, stay tuned, because this coin has a story you don't want to miss. Let's start with some background. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features the profile of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, and his Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse. This design remained largely unchanged for over 6 decades until the Westward Journey series began in 2004. But the year 2000 was a unique time. The U.S. Mint had not yet begun the redesigns. The 2000 P. Jefferson nickel, minted in Philadelphia, was produced in large numbers, over 920 million pieces. That means they're pretty common, right? Well, not so fast. Because buried in those hundreds of millions are some rare varieties and mint errors that can be worth serious money. The obverse shows a left-facing Jefferson with the inscription Liberty and the date 2000. Below it is the P mint mark for Philadelphia. The reverse displays the iconic Monticello building, with inscriptions like E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and 5 cents. What makes the 2000 P nickel stand out isn't the design, since it's standard, but rather the condition of certain pieces, as well as some incredibly rare and valuable errors. Let's talk about what really drives up the value, errors and varieties. Here are the main ones you should know. These are nickels with full, uninterrupted steps visible at the base of Monticello. On most circulated coins, these steps are worn down. But when you find a 2000 P with 5 or 6 full steps clearly visible, you've got something special. Collectors pay a premium for sharp strikes. Some rare 2000 P nickels show doubling, particularly on the words Liberty or Monticello. These double die errors are extremely collectible and can be worth hundreds or thousands depending on condition. Off-center nickels from 2000 with the P mint mark can fetch good money, especially if the date is still visible. Even more valuable are die cap errors, where the coin gets stuck to the die and strikes other coins, creating wild, distorted features. A 2000 P nickel that was struck without the collar can expand outwards, resulting in a larger than normal coin. These are rare and can also bring a hefty price. Condition plays a massive role in value. A circulated 2000 P Jefferson nickel might only be worth face value, 5 cents, but if it's in mint state, things get interesting. Coins graded MS-65 or higher start to bring in premium prices. Full steps examples in MS-66 or MS-67 condition are even more valuable. To get top dollar, your coin must be certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Now here's where it gets exciting. A 2000 P nickel graded MS-68 with full steps can be worth several $1,000s. And if a unique error variety or a one-of-a-kind die state is discovered and authenticated, That coin could be worth even more, potentially into six figures. There are rumors in the collector community about unique presentation strikes or trial pieces from this year that may exist in private collections or that haven't been identified yet. If one of those came to light, its value could push close to or even beyond $1 million depending on rarity, provenance, and collector interest. $500 to several $1,000s depending on error type, potentially six figures to $1 million if verified and auctioned with high demand. So how do you find one of these rare nickels? Start by checking your pocket change. Go through coin rolls from the bank. Visit estate sales or flea markets. And always inspect the date and mint mark. Look closely at the steps on Monticello and search for doubling or unusual shapes. Use a magnifier or jeweler's loupe for a better look. If you suspect you have something valuable, don't clean the coin. Just get it graded. The 2000p Jefferson nickel might seem like just another coin. But hidden among the hundreds of millions are some true gems. Whether it's a high-grade full steps coin, a dramatic mint error, or a previously undiscovered rarity, your 5-cent piece could be worth a fortune. So next time you get change from the store, don't just toss it in the jar. Take a look.